Hey everyone, welcome back. This is our last and final session at the DigitalOcean Tide EMEA conference. It's been a great conference so far, and hopefully you've had a couple of great takeaways and key takeaways and lessons to make it worth your time. Our next session is about making scalable technology decisions for your business, right? We have an exciting panel, and to moderate this session, I have my dear friend Aaron Geller, who leads our go-to-market efforts for the Americas region at DigitalOcean. Over to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Mohan. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I know it's late in India, but this is actually early for Mohan, as I've come to work with him over the past few years. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining today and all the resources that went into putting in a remote conference. I know it's no easy task. So Mohan, big shout out to you. I know you don't like the limelight, but you deserve it. So thanks again. And as they said, they saved the best for last. Just kidding. Everybody did such a fantastic job, and I've really enjoyed all the sessions. But really excited to be here today with a fantastic panel. And before we jump into the panel, I'd love to walk through some introductions. And instead of me introducing, I'll let the gang take over here. Real quick, again, my name is Aaron Geller. Been at DigitalOcean for about 4 years, and I head up go-to-market in America. So over to you, Roxana.
Hi. So I'm Roxana. I'm the CTO of Bunny Shell. And Bunny Shell is a platform for building cloud infrastructure that are production ready and focusing on application performance and uptime.
Thanks. Go ahead, Sumit.
Oh, hello. Hi, everybody. Mohan and everybody. Thanks for organizing such a great conference. It was fun all the time. Like for 4 hours, it was fun. My name is Samed. I'm the co-founder, one of the co-founders of the pricing, and I'm also the CTO. Pricing the company is a business analytics platform. We provide competitor price tracking and stock availability plus dynamic pricing. So we have been around since 2013, and my background is a software engineering type, and then nowadays I'm like managing all the tech stuff in the company. Thank you.
Great, and over to you, Florentino.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Florentino. I'm an engineering manager at Binary Edge, which was recently acquired by Coalition. And we are a cybersecurity company. And our focus is on internet scanning and gathering all sorts of data sources in order to provide our clients with insights about what they are exposing in terms of infrastructure and what vulnerabilities are they they can have, basically.
Great. Well, thanks for introducing yourself, everyone. As you can see, we have a wide range of verticals today. So it should be really interesting to see the different responses from the panel. So let's jump into the fun. Choosing your tech stack is hard. It's something as a representative of DigitalOcean, I talk to customers and partners about almost every single day. And there are so many different factors that go into choosing that tech stack. Why don't we start with you, Sumit? How do you typically choose your tech stack when starting out somewhere new, right? You have the power to say, okay, this is what we'd like to build. And knowing the factors that go into it, how do you go ahead and choose your initial stack, and what are the decision, what are the factors that go into making that?
Hard question, to be honest. Both Roxana and Florentino is very aware of the 40s of the CTO, the tech, the team, the tools, and the timing. These are the 4 pillars of this, or 4 pillars of a CTO. So while choosing the tech stack while building a new team, while choosing the tech stack, the most important thing, the key thing is the team. So the team should easily use the new stack. So that will be easy to understand, easy to comprehend. The complex things are tingling the hacker soul, but it's hard to maintain complex buildings, complex things. So the things that we choose should be easy to understand, easy to comprehend. The team expansion, expanding the team is another key thing. So there should be enough sources, enough people around that you can hire for your company that are aware of the things, they are aware of the technologies that you choose. And what you choose, what technologies you choose should be both robust and reliable, and should be modern. People, tech-savvy people, software developers, DevOps engineers, or both engineers want to grow their skill set. So what you choose should be modern, and you should stay close to industry standards. So all my concerns actually are related to the team actually.
Yeah, it makes sense. And, I think it's hard to admit that you rely on other folks sometimes because you want to be the guy that makes all the decisions, but the team you choose is so important. So great perspective. We'll kick it over to you, Florentino. Curious to know your decisions behind, choosing a tech stack and what goes into your philosophy.
Okay. So as a startup, we've began with a culture of quick prototyping. So we chose technology that we were familiar with. As we were moving forward, every time we want to develop a new service, a new project, something like that, we take our time to analyze, okay, what's the new technology on the market? What are our competitors? What is everyone using? What feature does it bring? Do we want to use these features? Does this brings us something in terms of reliability and future proofing, or do we want to stay with what we have and basically build quicker? So we need to think about time commitment versus what we gain from changing versus how much time we would actually need to use a new technology. So all of that needs to be considered.
Great. Yeah, and I think ease of deployment and familiarness is so important to get things up and running quickly, so you can focus on launching a business. So well said, Roxana. I've been close to the Bunny Shell story for a number of years, so I may have some insight here, but would love to hear your perspective on choosing the tech stack and decisions that you've made in your career, especially.
So I very agree with what Samet says. So when choosing a technology, it's not that you choose a technology, the team chooses one. So if you rely on a single person or to very passionate people to build with a technology that is new and cool, but there is not so much knowledge in your team, it may become a bottleneck in the long term. Besides that, I think that when you start building, no matter if you're starting right now, I think the technology must be scalable. So most of the time you have to build scalable features, and for that you have to use scalable technologies. So you should keep that in mind. And also a thing that I've encountered and I had to make decisions is using vendor locked-in solutions. So this is an issue, and if you use one and the business requirements change and you have to migrate or change it, it may become a pain. So opting for something that is flexible and does not require you to change half of your code is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, DigitalOcean does no vendor lock-in, which I think is a huge benefit to working with us, and a big reason a lot of folks, deploy to DigitalOcean is because the scalability and the ease of, if you do need to use other servers, it's so easy to move things around. So well said. Probably my favorite question we'll go through, and a question I'm very, very familiar with. how do you choose your cloud infrastructure, right? There are so many factors that go into this that I deal with on a daily basis. I'm sure you all have dealt with many, many times. Your customers, pricing, simplicity, support, the list goes on and on. And with a ever-growing list of providers out there, of course, you have the hyperscalers, you have DigitalOcean, and the list goes on. From folks like OVH, Linode, and Vultr. It's really hard to narrow down on who you'd like to start your cloud journey with. So I'd love to hear how you folks choose your cloud infrastructure provider. And I know in many cases we are not the only one, and that's totally fine. We're okay in that space, I promise. Maybe somebody will disagree with me, and I'll get a ping later on, but I think it's okay. And then alternatively, what led you to DigitalOcean, and how has your experience been with us? I'd love to hear your thoughts on both questions. And let's start back with you, Rox.
So at Bunny Shell, we build a lot of infrastructure for our users, and we have had some great stories on migrating their current infrastructure to DigitalOcean. As for choosing the infrastructure, the thing we like to do is first look at the application. So the correct infrastructure, the right infrastructure, is the one that is made for that application, and it satisfies all the requirements. Of course, building a cloud infrastructure requires that the cloud does provide all the needed components for you to do all the metrics like scalability and high availability and all that DevOps things. So in DigitalOcean, we have had some great stories where we migrated application and increased performance throughout using the correct infrastructure, and also reduced cost, which is a big issue also when creating infrastructures, because we can all create very great infrastructure, but also very expensive ones, and it is needed to have a balance between an infrastructure that is reliable for production, but also it is not that expensive.
Yeah, of course. Costs are important, and reliability equally as important. So well said. Sumit, I'd love to hear about how you choose your infrastructure, in the past, and how your experience has been with DigitalOcean.
Actually, we were lucky when we started the company. We were just three people, three co-founders, and two are like me. One of the software engineers is me, and another is my partner. And then so we have a very limited source for both developing the product and then feeding the software architecture, the cloud architecture. So we need to have a super fast, super easy to use, super easy to start API for cloud infrastructure. And then we decided to use DigitalOcean. It was super snappy. We just prototyped the product, and then we find some customers, and then we built a sales team. Then new customers arrived. Meanwhile, we developed the cloud infrastructure on DigitalOcean, and I said we were lucky because we had grown parallel to DigitalOcean. So we needed to scale the database. DigitalOcean added managed database service at the perfect time. I mean, at that time when we needed, and we started developing Docker, and we started using Kubernetes, and DigitalOcean implemented managed Kubernetes cluster. So we were super lucky in means of the timeline. So again, the decision making is similar to choosing the tech stack. It should be easy to understand, easy to develop, easy to prototype, and besides, it is much cheaper, as Roxana says. Most of the times, it is like 1/10 of the, other popular solutions, the costs.
Great. And Florentino, let's hear from you on the same question. How has your decisions made about cloud infrastructure? And again, would love to hear about your DigitalOcean experiences.
So in our case, we are inherently a multi-cloud house, and I agree with what Roxana said. So there needs to be a balance between the features that the cloud brings you, and the cost. When we choose a cloud, we see what features does it bring in terms of stability, reliability, scalability, and then how much is going to cost us. In a general sense for specific microservices. Now, because we do internet scanning, and this is a thing that is frowned upon by many providers, this actually limits us in terms of providers. And DigitalOcean was such a provider that was happy to do this with us. So of course, that in order to do internet scanning correctly, there is a set of requirements that you should do. For instance, if DigitalOcean receives an abuse request, they redirect that to us, and we need to respect either by providing the person that complains with a list of IP addresses to block, or they provide us IPs to put on our block list. So there's certain mechanics that most providers don't want to do, and DigitalOcean gladly did it with us. Also, very easy to integrate, and this is a very important point because I mean, there are many providers that offer good prices, but not many offer good prices, good performance, and good integration, and DigitalOcean does. So yeah, so far our experience with DigitalOcean has been quite good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I think we strive to give flexibility and control of the platform to all of our users, regardless of your use case. Unless you're Bitcoin mining, you're going to have an issue, and we'll talk about that offline because we can get in trouble. But it's glad to see that we're satisfying the use cases of your teams and your customers, and really happy to be part of your stack and how you guys succeed. So thanks for your insight. One of the things that's really important in early stage is thinking about scale, right? When you're building a company, and I don't have much experience doing this, but I talk to a lot of customers that do, there's thinking about the future and there's thinking about now. And so, how often do you guys think about, building for right now and being agile versus building for the future and that scale? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Let's start with you, Sumit.
Sorry. Sorry, me or Roxana? I didn't understand. Roxana,
you can go. You're ready to go.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry. The scalability issue is like it is always with you. Actually, I mean, there is no specific time that you can think on it, because as a startup, you need to grow like hyper fast, super fast. So you need to think all the time about the scalability. But at the beginning, since you have limited resources, it's not easy to get prepared for or develop something that is scalable for that point. I mean, when you develop your prototype, it is just a prototype. It is ready for just a couple of customers, but you need to sell the product to many customers. So you need to scale it out. It's not easy to achieve that, to scale out it with the limited resources. So there's a sweet spot between the scale and the fast development. So build fast, but get ready, plan for the future. You'll need that scalability as soon as you started selling to the new customers. So try to catch that sweet spot.
Great. Thanks, Sumit. Florentino, we'll go with you and we'll wrap up with Roxana on the scale.
Okay, I agree with Sumit. That sweet spot is certainly what you want. For our case, however, we needed the scale from day one because our whole business sat upon the fact that we scan the whole internet. So in our case, we just needed to think right from the get-go, how is this going to scale? Can we actually scan the whole internet fast enough for the results we expect? So yeah, in our case, we are constantly thinking, how is this gonna work for the world, for exactly the worst case scenario? So yeah.
Makes sense. And Roxana, I know you guys have actually built a platform and a tool to help with this, right? To help folks build fast and scale. So maybe instead of speaking to the decisions you've made, why Bunny Shell was built and actually can help people scale faster and take out some of the complexities so they can focus on their business rather than thinking about infrastructure.
Yeah, that is correct. So in terms of scalability, when you build something, you want to have it in mind, of course. It is okay to reach the point of an MVP, to test it, to see if it's going to need to be scaled. And after that, to start scaling, and not when it cracks, but before that. But for the infrastructure, it is a different thing. So all infrastructure that are production ready need to be scalable from the start. If you build an infrastructure that is not going to be scalable, a migration will be needed, a downtime will be needed, and that is against Bunny Shell because we support the uptime, and that is our purpose. So when it comes to development, I totally agree. Do not think about scaling, do not implement it, just get the right decisions, don't use technologies that are not scalable. So that's for the development. For the infrastructure, think for scale all the time.
Yeah, and I think tying back to our first question, right, choosing that tech stack that allows you to scale kind of eliminates that thought because you don't have to worry about choosing something today and making changes tomorrow. Of course, there are times when you outgrow things, but having a team that can move quickly can help prevent things like that in the future. So very well said, and glad to see you guys are helping that problem with a platform like Bunny Shell. Cool. So you all have direct reports, I have to assume, given what I know. Would love to hear about your philosophies for hiring engineering roles. What do you guys keep in mind when hiring folks for your team? What's most important to you, and advice that you would share with the audience here? Anyone can jump in. No necessary.
All right, I'll start. The candidate, I mean, the new teammate candidate should allow what you develop. So if a developer loves the thing that she's developing, I mean, the magic happens. So she should love what you are developing. She should love the product. But it is not enough. She should also love the team itself. So your team should include the people that you want to work with. I mean, if someone wants to work within a great team, that is your magic thing, actually. Other than that, developers want to grow along your side, grow with you. So you need to support them to improve their skill sets, to add something new to their skill sets. That is another point. So basically, you want to find like top quality developers. You need to have top quality team. You need to have a top quality product. So you need to bring them together. That is what I reckon on hiring, actually.
Great. Roxana, over to you. What are your thoughts around hiring and some of the philosophies that you stand by in terms of adding the right?
So for the leadership position, I have two things in mind. Well, first, the leader should embody all the qualities that he wants to see in his team. He should be an example. And if he wants to see his members to be reliable and proactive and productive, he should be an example. And the other thing that I think that is even more important, because being an example is not enough, is having the right mindset. So I think that the principle of people over processes is required in a leadership position. You should a leader should talk to each member of his team and understand what they, if they are happy, if they are unhappy, what are their personal goals and professional goals. And as Samit said, he should take an interest and help them grow, help them achieve their goals. And only by by human relationship, you will grow a team and achieve the metrics that you want in terms of productivity and the business. So yeah, people over processes. That's the most important.
Great. I love the philosophy of the entire leadership team getting involved, and I think it's very important, especially at a small stage. So that makes a lot of sense. How about you, Florentino?
Well, I keep thinking about the previous presentation from Jenny and the part about missionaries versus mercenaries, and I think that sums up pretty much what it's all about. You want someone that is willing to learn and evolve the business with you, and not just be not just look at it as a job and zero cares in the world. So you want someone that actually cares about what he's doing and wants to grow the business with you. And I've seen this. I mean, we've had skilled engineers that with the wrong attitude, and it reflects on the software they develop. You you see it's something done without care. And when you have someone, let's say, less skilled, but with the right attitude, they are always there. When there's a problem, they are the first ones to fix it right away. They suggest new ways of making the product or the business evolve. It's kind of like Samet said, there's a magic that happens when you have the right people involved in a project.
Couldn't agree more. Well said. And I think you all have some great philosophies for hiring, which probably speaks to why you have such great teams. So thanks for weighing in on your hiring strategy and philosophies. Here's a fun one. What is the biggest engineering challenge you faced to date in your current startup? And we have a more entertaining question to follow up after this, but let's start with the biggest challenge. And Florentino, we'll go back to you on this.
Well, this is a hard one. I would have to say that the biggest challenge is actually a constant one. So when we are building these scanning tools, we need to measure, okay, what's the information we want to gather versus how much time it takes to gather, and how are we going to scale this? And there's a constant fight between what we can actually do in the time we have to do it, and that's certainly the biggest challenge. We need to measure what are the resources we can pull from the machines, how many machines can we use for this, do we need to scale the number of machines we are using, can we increase performance in some way? It's all that.
Great. And Roxana, how about yourself? What are some of the, or what is the biggest challenge that you faced so far at Bunny Shell?
So we haven't faced a particular challenge. It is a continuous challenge. So I think that keeping the fast pacing in a startup, when you have to build a lot of features really fast and continuously, is a challenge in itself. And having the correct balance between the fast pace of development and the reliability of what you are building is really important. I think if you build something very, very fast, it can be buggy, which will not give you any gratitude later on. So I think that being in a startup is a challenge in itself for the development team. It's a beautiful challenge.
Oops, sorry, I think I cut out there. Go ahead, Sumit.
All right. I totally agree with Roxana. I mean, when you develop something and gather some customers, you now have somebody, you now have customers to make them happy. You need to make them happy, but still you need to add new features, develop your product fast. So when you add something fast, I totally agree with Roxana. So I don't have something new to say, but that is the most challenging thing. I mean, you want to move fast and don't break things. So it is not possible actually. So you are looking for the balance, both moving fast and not breaking things.
Great answer. And I think it ties back to everything else we discussed. Having a great team and great tech will really help make sure you can move fast and only break very small things rather than something big. So I know we're coming up on time here, but I wanted to ask one last thing. We'll skip my fun question and for another time. But there's a lot of folks in the audience that would love some advice. So as CTOs, engineering managers, and co-founders, what advice would you give folks just starting out in their startup journey in the audience that's worked really well for yourselves? I think that's a great way to end things. And I want to say thank you all so much for joining again. Pleasure getting to work with you and speak with you today at Tide. And Roxanne, I'll let you lead our last.
So I think the biggest advice that I can give to a CTO is to not end in a breakdown and to take breaks from time to time, because taking breaks can be as productive as developing or leading the development. And if you don't, you are going to regret it. Because being in a startup is not all about sprints. It's a long journey. You are going to be there for a long time, and that's beautiful in itself. And you have to take breaks. And a big shout out to my beautiful team that is always reminding me to do that.
Great. How about you, Florentino? Any advice for the co-founders, managers, and folks in the startup community out there?
Well, I think the biggest advice I can say is really think about what you're giving back to the company, to the product, and everything. And if you ever get to a point that you're not giving your all, then stop doing it. I've seen leaders and managers that stopped caring about the product, about the mission of the company, and it reflects poorly on what the client sees. Let's say it like that. So, yeah, just always keep in mind what you're doing, what you're giving to the end client, basically.
Absolutely, passion's got to be there, especially if you're leading things. So couldn't agree more. And Sumit, we'll wrap up with you. Any parting words, advice for the folks?
All right. What I learned during my journey as a CTO, what I learned is a CTO is not a machine that solves. A CTO is not a software, is not a machine that solves a particular problem. A CTO is a glue which holds the customer, the product, and the team together. So you are not a machine, you are not a software. You're a human being who is trying to keep things together. And one key thing that I learned is that the onboarding process of new teammates are the most crucial, most important thing in the hiring process. So keep an eye on the onboarding process.
Great, thanks, Sumit. Appreciate all of your advice, and I'm sure others do. And if there's more questions or more advice, I'm sure the three of them would love to speak. So Mohan, I'm not sure if there was a way to follow up after, but I'll defer to you. Thanks everyone for your time. It was great joining today, and over to you.
Yeah, thanks. That was a great session. I found myself nodding at a lot of places, and I think the audience is also resonating, and lots of emojis in terms of thumbs up and applause. Thank you for joining me, Roxana, Sameed, Florentino, and you, Aaron. Thank you for moderating this session. I have a last couple of shout outs before we wrap up our DigitalOcean Tide conference here. So first of all, I want to start by thanking all our speakers. We had speakers from around the world, really, around 7 time zones. So thank you all for making the time and joining and sharing your thoughts, your insights, and your experience with us. For audience, we'd love to hear, what you thought about the conference, right? We'd love to learn. We'd love to do better going forward. And if we're doing something well, just let us know so we continue doing that. You can let us know your thoughts at do.co/tide-fb for feedback. Go there and give us some feedback about what you thought of each of our sessions, and if you had some key insights. Right. For some of you who were logging in, we understand that this is midweek and you have meetings to go to. We have all these session videos recorded and we'll be sharing them soon. You'll get an email from us, but also you'll find these videos uploaded on our YouTube channel within the next couple of weeks. If you are new to DigitalOcean and want to try us out, go to the link do.co/tide100 to get $100 worth of free cloud credits. And if you want to speak to someone from our team, right, be it our solutions team, someone like Darian, or someone from our business development team or sales team, and in terms of how you could potentially build and scale your business on DigitalOcean, that's the form you can go to do.co/contact-us. We'd love to get on a call with you and understand what you're building and how we can support you there. So if you need to take a screenshot of these links, do that. With that, I want to make a quick shout out to Hacktoberfest. If some of you have participated in Hacktoberfest before, you know what all this craziness is about, right? That's in just a couple of weeks. Hacktoberfest, for those of you who don't know about it, is a month-long celebration of open source. It's something that we've been running for the last 7 years, and this will be the 7th year and the 7th edition of Hacktoberfest. We're super excited. Go to hacktoberfest.com to learn more. And if you are an open source developer, you can maintain a repo, you can contribute to other repos on GitHub, and DigitalOcean ships really cool special edition t-shirts around the world, wherever you are. So go to hacktoberfest.com to learn more. Outside of that, a couple of quick resources. We're big on supporting the community in whatever way we can, be it our startup program, be it our content. We have more than 4,000 plus tutorials on our website. Use those as you build your infrastructure. And we also have a strong Q&A forum and community where we have more than 1 million visitors who come every day and support each other by answering questions. Check that out. We also have meetups in more than 73 cities around the world, right? In your city, we do have a meetup. Feel free to join that meetup chapter and interact with other developers from your city, right? And an initiative that we started a couple of months back is Hub for Good, where if you are running a community project, be it related to education, sustainability, or economic growth and progress, DigitalOcean is happy to support you by providing cloud credits, by doing shout outs to your events, and in any way we can support. So go to digitalocean.com website and you'll find the link for Hub for Good. And finally, I did mention about Hacktoberfest. So that's in just a couple of weeks, so do sign up for that. And now we have the winners of the Twitter and the quiz contest. For the Twitter contest, our partners Plesk takes it away. And we have Kishore Giri. Thanks for all those tweets, and Maro Benici, if I'm pronouncing your name right. If you see your name here or your Twitter handle here, know that you've won a prize, and we'll be sending you more details about your prizes on email. For the quiz contest, it's Connor, Riaz, and Adam who won the prizes. Congratulations, and thank you for your participation and enthusiasm. A big shout out to our partners, Plesk, Cloudfest, and SeedStars, and also AirMeet, who hosted us on their platform. It's been a great platform for networking. So huge shout out to the team for being super supportive through all our dry runs and this live event that we have put together. So really, we believe in partnerships and giving back. So thank you for your support. So that's it. Really, this was the DigitalOcean Tide EMEA conference. Thank you for taking the time, and we really appreciate your participation. And before we let you go, I want to, as you all log off, there is a little music break. This is one of our colleagues who plays music, and we wanted to share that with you. So that's really it. Do give us your feedback if you have any. And with that, here's some music for you as you wrap up your DigitalOcean Tide conference. This is Mohan Ram signing off. Thank you.
Grab your nearest swimsuit. We can dip our toes in together. We all do our best when we all support one another. And learning things is scary, but not if you have a friend. They will fight away the monsters and then help you see it's all pretend. And if you ever need a life vest, I'll help you put it on. We are all in this together. You should know how strong I think you are. Grab your nearest swimsuit and make the biggest splash when we're together. I will hold your hand if it'll give you strength to conquer the things I know you can. And it's okay to be scared. I am right there by your side. But I know that you are stronger than the fear you try to hide. And if you don't believe in everything that you have done, know that I've seen you dip your toes in and go from walk to run. Sail across the ocean. I hope that my life can guide you home. Travel the whole world. You're stronger than the person you believe in. You're stronger than the version of yourself that you believe in. You're stronger than the version of yourself that you believe in. And I see you differently.
All right. Hope that was a good break after all that talking and learning and sharing. Roxana, Sameet, and Florentino, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us, Mohan.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Soon. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.